Hello, everyone. I gave the title 3 days of intensity for this video because within 3 days, and actually these are 2 days because it's the 25th and the 27th of May, we are going to have three quite important things. First of all, Saturn is moving to Aries, so it's going to be at the vernal equinox, which is a very key point in any chart that you can ever have. This happened last time 29 and a half years ago. Yes, Saturn will move back into Pisces and will be ruled once again by Neptune for a couple of months. And then it will go ahead and move finally into Aries in 2026 only. But at the same time, this is the first kind of tentative wish to visit a sign which hasn't been visited by the Lord of Karma for quite a while. So it's a biggie, okay? So that's one thing. And then we will have the Gemini new moon. And Gemini is always about learning, chatting, expressing emotions, looking at information, also moving these pieces of information between ourselves and others. So all new moons are about new beginnings. So this could provide a new chapter for the peace talks, for instance. What's the problem? Saturn moved just a day earlier, 2 days earlier into Aries, it won't allow because it is going to be ruled by Mars. And of course, Mars is in Leo, which is a sign of brain and sovereignty. So it's not an easy energy. And then that very same day on the new moon, not even 1 hour later, we will have the exact Aries Chiron conjunction, which is this year's and next year's main karmic astrological feature. So let's take a look at the charts. These all are again for London as usual. And as you can see, it will be commencing on the 25th. Actually, on the 26th, there's nothing going to happen, but still, these are 3 days, 25, 26, and 27th. You will all feel the intensity of this particular energy. Let's take a look at them each, and let's take a look at the London chart. So this is the London chart for Saturn entering Aries, which is going to be at 4:33 a.m. London time. And as you can see, we have a Taurus rising, so Venus is ruling it, and Venus is nearing the Chiron Aries conjunction. It will be exact in maybe 6 days, 5 or 6 days. So it's going to be, it's already nearing it. So it's already getting ready for the three physical body or celestial bodies to conjoin. And as you can see at the very end of Taurus, Mercury is also ready to go into its own sign, but it's at the moment it is conjunct Uranus, and both of them are rising on the ascendant, and we have a first house sun in the London chart. Aries is drastically altered outward circumstances. Chiron is our karmic wounds linked to aggression, violence, wars, fire, blood, all kinds of things, all related to Aries. And the Uranus-Mercury conjunction could be brilliant, actually, because Mercury is the normal communication and Uranus is channeled information from above, all of a sudden flashes of inspiration. And so they could work quite well together. Again, this could actually emphasize that there should be some peace talks, there should be some peace energy. And then the sun is coming up to an exact trine with Pluto. Sun-Pluto trines are always about the magician. It's the magician aspect. So that could be quite interesting. And of course, the time when Saturn moves into Aries, it's also, again, being conjunct with Neptune and to a certain extent Ceres, although that is already separating because Ceres was conjunct Saturn a couple of, maybe 2 weeks ago. So that is a triple conjunction now in the same sign. And in the London chart, we have Juno, the first lady, the official spouse, the significator of committed, serious relationships on the descendant. That again is a hint on alliances. And here's the problem: the Western countries, the leaders of the Western countries, the globalists, think that this war between Russia and Ukraine, which is actually a proxy war, we know that all, and the West is meddling into it. And the Western countries want this to go on. They don't care how many Ukrainians die. They don't really care that a whole generation is going to be wiped out. What they want is a united Europe. And again, this is yet another tool to make it happen. The first tool was of course, the refugee crisis in 2015. Then came the pandemic in 2020, and now the war. And that's why they don't want to give up the war. And this is exactly what you see in this chart as well. But at the same time, luckily, two strong women again are uniting. Vesta, the focusing principle, is exactly conjunct Black Moon Lilith, revolt against the whole story is revolt against injustice. That's how what Lilith does against Yahweh, the Lord of the Jewish the Jewish creator God, let's put it this way, which of course was then accepted by Roman Christian Catholics as well, way back in 400. Actually 450 something, 451, with the council at Chalcedon. That is when they lifted the books of the Old Testament into the new credo, and that is when Judeo-Christianism was born. But it has got really nothing to do with the original teachings of Jesus Christ. That's just an aside. But so this the original creating story of it was that God, I mean Yahweh, created two people, a husband and wife, really. The first wife was Lilith, but she revolted against the injustice and she left paradise. And the Lilith story, if you're interested in it, I have a couple of videos out there, the three astrological Liliths. So the first one is revolt against injustice. This is still conjunct Pallas Athena, but they are already separating. That's the revolt. And then the dark moon Lilith, which was conjunct Pluto a couple of days ago, she represents the story when Lilith leaves the Garden of Eden and goes into exile. And this is manifested usually in a behavior pattern where we say, we will do whatever we damn well please, and I don't even care if you curse me. So this is the acceptance of the curse. And then the third Lilith, the Black Moon Lilith, which is exactly conjunct Vesta, she is the one who goes back into paradise and gives the apple to Eve, the second wife, so that she will have a soul, because Alma means soul, and Alma is in Hungarian apple, and the whole story can be understood really if you speak Magyar. Unfortunately, nobody does. Not too many people do nowadays. Anyhow, so this is the ingress. And there are some interesting configurations. So if you look at the beginning of the signs, let's say the first 4 or 5 degrees, you will have a complex planetary picture. There is a tense trapeze. Trapezes are really stages. It is tense because the sides of the stage where you need to step up are 2 squares. And one is Pluto square, fixed square, Lilith and Vesta. That's the more difficult one. And the other one is the Sun Sedna conjunction square trans-Pluto. This is the easiest one because, first of all, mutable squares are always easier than fixed squares, and the sun is there, so actually it will fill the whole structure with consciousness and potentials. And the top of the stage is the trans-Pluto Lilith Vesta sextile, so that is where you can express yourself. On the other side, there's a harmony triangle, and at the apex of which is the triple conjunction with Saturn, Neptune, and Ceres. Saturn, Neptune is about how you can fulfill your dreams, how you can take your dreams down to the earth plane and really accomplish that. And Ceres is the nurturing principle. And of course, Saturn, Sun is always about how, Saturn, Sun conjunction is about how you are looking at stuff that is not working and trying to take it apart and rearranging it. And then the Sun, Pluto, of course, is the magician. So it's quite interesting. And there's also a fixed Earth engine with the moon. Here's the moon, Pluto, and trans-Pluto. So here's another interesting structure. So it's quite complex. If you look at the transcendental celestial objects, hopefully, if you saw a couple of my videos by now, you will know the color coding. Purple is for asteroids, so they are the personal karmic level. And then the blue ones are TNOs, SDOs, centaurs, any trans-Neptunian object, which are all kind of responsible for our karmic wounds. They describe our karmic wounds and the potential how to heal them or how to turn them into unique treats and potentials. And then the red ones are fixed stars, which are not part of the solar system. They are out there in the universe. They are bright, beautiful objects where the soul can migrate in order to learn something or to put a difficult situation into a healing process. So those are the three levels. On the sun, you have Plutia and Plutarchus. Plutarchus was a wise guy. He was a philosopher, and Plutia is clairvoyance. She was the oracle in the Temple of Delphi for Apollo. On the moon, you have Psyche, the soul, and Parsifal, a knight in shining armor, one of King Arthur's knights of the Round Table. And actually, there are a couple of knights there. So yes, knighthood is important in this space-time moment. On Saturn, you have Shad, which is Beta Pegasus, which is actually one of the first healing words for suicide victims. On Neptune Ceres, you have Galahad, another knight in shining armor, Borasisi, who is the tyrant. He is the personification of the tyrant or tyrant situations. And then I have Kaitos, which is Beta Status, the beta star of the constellation Set. And the whole Set constellation is in a liminal space between Aries and Taurus and overlooks those couple of maybe 15 degrees where there are no bright stars of either constellations. And in this case, as Bernadette Brady wrote about this, both in her visual newsletters and in her books, the constellation underneath the liminal space is overtaking. And this represents the ideas that are resurfacing from our subconscious. On Pluto, you have Moira, the goddesses of fate. On trans-Pluto, you have Helio, Ramses, and Nike. Nike is the victory, euphoria of victory. Ramses is a lineage of a pharaoh family, and Helio is the sun god. On Sedna, you have Hygeia, how to put things in order. The word hygiene comes from her name, sacred spaces and cleanliness in all sense. Icarus, which is a hubris asteroid, which represents the idea that I don't care with dangers, I don't care what the gods want for me, I am going to do what I want. And of course, the consequence is usually losing your life. And the Pleiades, which is in karmic astrology, the home of the creator goddess. And Sedna will be there for a couple of more months by the end of the year for sure. And then Vesta, the focusing principle, and Black Moon Lilith, the third turning point of the Lilith myth, denoting stamina and determinedness and knowledge of this is what you need to do and I will do it no matter what. Has Memnosine, remembering, Radamanthus, who was the king of Crete, and after the Minotaur story, he was the one who restored order for Crete. And when he dies, he becomes one of the judges of the underworld. By the way, he is Zeus's and Europe's son. And Elatus, which is a centaur, it is about how you work, how you write, how you express yourself through work and writing, and whether or not you are proud of it and how you can actually make it work. So those are it. And then on the 27th, you will have the Gemini new moon at 4:02 a.m. London time. So of course the sun will be below the horizon. And actually, we have a Taurus rising again. These are all around 4 o'clock, so that's why we have a Taurus rising. And as you can see, there's a very, very full 12th house. A lot of things are relegated, not just into the 12th house, but all this combative military energy of Aries is actually also put into brackets. It's not only in the 12th, it's also intercepted. Libra and Aries are intercepted. There's nothing in Libra at the moment, so everything here gets put into brackets and kind of hangs in the air. Saturn, Neptune, Ceres on the one hand, and Venus, Chiron, and Aries on the other hand. We are just 2 days after the previous chart. It's almost the same. The main difference is really the moon, which moved into Gemini, because we have a Gemini new moon, of course. And as you can see, and Mercury moved away from Uranus. So it's at the moment it's a fast moving Mercury. So you will see in 2 days it made almost 4 degrees. And as you can see, the Vesta black moon Lilith is even tighter, and so is the Pluto new moon trine. So now not just the sun but also the moon are trining Pluto. Here are some aspects. It's interesting because the previous new moon, the Taurus new moon, had almost no aspects at all, and this time we do have a number of aspects. Here they are, and so I only left here the things that are actually making aspects to the new moon. So you can actually see Mercury is coming up to an exact conjunction with the new moon in like 2 days, 1.5 days. Venus is 45 degrees from the new moon. So it's actually a bright Venus in the morning if you come to see of it. But if you manage to see it, you can observe it. It's not, of course, it's not as bright as it was in November and December when it was at its brightest. It was like 4 point something of magnitude. It really was beautiful. So it's not less bright now, but it's still quite a nice sight if you manage. You have the exact trine with Pluto. Also, the new moon makes a quintile to Mars and another quintile to the North Node. And these are ingeniousness aspects. So they denote ingeniousness, talent. And Mars, of course, actually rules this traffic jam. So there's a lot of in the hiding with this new moon. This new moon could be brilliant for peace talks, for all kinds of talking about what is really important and exchanging views and understanding somebody else's views. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, because Mars cannot really rule a house. So there's no place that it rules because it's intercepted in the 12th. But still, the ingeniousness energy is there. And so is the North Node to new moon, because it gives you the purpose of this new moon that, okay, actually, what I intend to do as my destiny is actually connected to the new moon energy, the emergence of the new moon energy. So those are the most important. Maybe there's two more, because with the Chiron Aries conjunction, the new moon makes a novile. It's a double, actually, it's a fourfold novile. So it's a Chiron moon novile, a Chiron sun novile, an Aries moon novile, and an Aries sun novile. So you have four interconnecting noviles. And noviles, 40 degree, are about sacrifice. So this could mean actually that the Western powers, the globalists, really don't care, and they really want to sacrifice the whole thing in order to turn us into a big, beautiful globalist dream of unitedness. Okay, there is, if you look at it, because the Mars and North Node is also a midpoint. It is a midpoint structure, but because we have those two quintiles, it actually creates a so-called talent triangle with two quintiles and a biquintile between Mars and the North Node. So it's quite powerful, and you can utilize it quite well. Yeah, admittedly, these minor aspects like the quintile series, the novile series, or the septile series, which is 1/7 of the circle and denotes all kinds of transcendental abilities. The problem with them is that they don't have any energy. But first of all, this is a midpoint structure, and also it creates a a configuration. And whenever you have a configuration with these minor aspects, they move. They are actually, they are filled with energy. Not as much as a T-square, but we still can utilize it. And that's the important stuff. And then in less than an hour later, at 4:58 a.m. London time, is when the Chiron Aries conjunction becomes exact to the second. And as you can see, the new moon moved into the ascendant. We have a Gemini ascendant. So Sun, Moon, and Gemini are together. Quite interesting since it is almost an hour later. Here in Budapest, we have the Sun, Moon, ascendant conjunction on the new moon chart. And later on, so in an hour later, we have Jupiter on the ascendant. But of course, you guys are an hour earlier, and that is why you get this new moon on the ascendant energy. And here, it's really the same. It's actually almost exactly the same chart, except that here Pluto gets to the midheaven, and Pluto at the moment is retrograde, so not too many things come out of manipulation, but it's on midheaven. It's on the highest point of the chart. So actually, the Aries energy is no longer intercepted, and Pluto on the midheaven may actually highlight what they really want to do to us, because that is the problem, that they want to impoverish Europe and they want to impoverish the European people. And now with Starmer, of course, England is also included. It's ridiculous how they simply destroy everything in their power that made the world a happy place. And it's really sad. And I'm too old to do anything except for these videos. I don't know what else to do. I short of fighting, but it, you know, at this age, you no longer fight. And there is a complex planetary picture with the Chiron Aries conjunction around 25 degrees. It's the nodes, Pallas Athena, the Viceger, Jupiter, which enlarges everything it touches. And so the nodal axis creates a boomerang with Pallas Athena and Chiron Aries, which means simply that you should really be wise what you trigger, because you can also burn in the process. And there's also a mutable karmic cage. This was exact a couple of days, maybe a week ago, but it's still there, so it's still working, although it's doubly separating because the nodal axis moves backward and Jupiter at the moment is direct. But it's still, you still have the karmic cage. And there's also a harmony triangle, this time with Chiron and Aries at its apex, Pallas Athena, the Viceger, and Jupiter. And actually, Pallas Athena and Jupiter are daughter and father, so it's actually the family lineage as well. So this is quite a nice energy. And then the transcendental objects are quite revealing again, because on the north node you have Tristan, yet another knight in shining armor, and Eros. Eros was there when Gaia created herself. She emerged from the primordial void, which is called chaos. And she is not alone, because at her birth there is Nyx, night, Erebus, darkness, and Eros, physical desire. And anything is really moved by physical desire on the earth plane, in 3D. That is what we should understand. So they actually, all these idiotic ideas of a bright new society and socialism and this and that and whatever, they are always falling short simply because they are against the wish, the desire of the people. That's very simple. And then and then the north node is on Markup, which is Alpha Pegasus, which is ideas shining, coming out of the head. So it's the ideas that are emerging. Pegasus is the flying horse. Okay, and then on the south node, you have Darius and Chaldea. Chaldea, the Chaldean priest, invented astrology as we know today. And so again, tap into the knowledge of the past and maybe forgotten and neglected knowledge. And Darius is, of course, someone with a ton of money, a ton of resources. And then the Chiron Aries has Leto, the goddess, who had a daughter and a son, not Pallas Athena, sorry. Sorry. It's the sun god and the moon goddess, so it's Diana and or Artemis and Apollo. It's easier to look at this, so see it later. And then wisdom, which we badly need in this situation, and Boethius, another philosopher or someone who is a thinker. And on Pallas Athena, the wisdom goddess, you have Gorgo, which are three beautiful sisters who lived pre-Zeusian, in Zeusian times, so they are the old goddesses. And then Deneb Algadi, which is Delta Capricorn, these denoting steadiness and strength, and Sada Sud, Beta Aquarius, which is the luckier of the luckiest, so one of the lucky stars. So these are the energy patterns of this particular new moon, surrounded by the ingress of Saturn into Aries, which is a very militant drive, and then Chiron, the Chiron Aries conjunction, which is an even more militant drive. These are the energy patterns surrounding this fluffy, usually not very difficult and quite chatty, talkative Gemini new moon, which I don't think we are going to have, unfortunately, but you can always utilize it on your own, for your own life. Happy new moon. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.